Hello and welcome to the first ever Final Mile Vodcast. I'm Dooner and I'm really excited to bring this podcast, this video cast, and this project to you. And we're kicking off the right way with the right guy. It's Peter Summers. He's CEO over at Emirates Post. Hey, Peter, thank you for joining me today on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, good to meet you.
You're sitting kind of far away from me. I'm over here in Chattanooga. Where are you sitting right now?
I'm sitting in Dubai, of all places. Yeah. Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Middle East. Sunshine, 27 degrees Celsius for the moment. Beautiful weather, winter time, so can't complain.
Now, introduce yourself. What does the CEO of Emirates Post do in the December of 2021? What's life like for you?
Okay. Yeah, so my name is Peter. I joined this company 2 years ago, and I was headhunted and asked to come over from Belgium to Dubai because I'm a Belgian guy, and I have a postal background. So I helped the Belgian Post to transform from the year 2000 to 2014, from government entity into private, and later on the public. The company it's also in public, a listed company, and the same thing will potentially happen here. So transformation from a government entity with legacy business in the mail business. And now, of course, due to digitization, everything is changing. Also, our world is changing rapidly. So we move away from letter mail and completely move into a last mile logistics company. And yeah, as you asked me what we do today, well, we're full peak time at this moment because Black Friday, here you have Yellow Friday because our biggest play in the market is Noon, which is a yellow company. So they call it Yellow Friday, which is interesting. And so, yeah, it's peak time for the moment, but it's also the moment we finalize the last discussions for the year before some people go on leave. And yeah, busy times.
So you got Yellow Friday, you've got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but you've also had this position throughout this entire pandemic. Now, no easy task, especially since Final Mile Postal, it's seen some of the most radical transformation during that period. What's been the most challenging part about working through the pandemic from your seat?
Yeah, the most important challenge we had was capacity. Yeah. Because one, we had the case that a couple of our drivers, and we have Indian, Pakistani, many cultures are working here in the UAE, because more than 80% of the country are expats, blue collar and white collar. So our drivers were stuck in their country. So we had a shortage already that. A couple of drivers were ill. That's another thing that happened with COVID. So you have reduced capacity. At the same time, volumes are shooting to the roof because you had the lockdown. And in this region, online ordering was only at the beginning of the journey. But there was no choice because the lockdown here was a real lockdown. You couldn't go out only once a week to do your grocery shopping, but every other shopping that you normally do in a mall, which many malls in the UAE, was not possible. So everybody started to test the online ordering, and that volume jumped to the roof. At the same time, when they jumped to the roof, there was capacity shortage in the market. So we used taxi drivers, we used outsourcing, we used many things to cope with the volume, let's say, increase we had. That was one thing. Well, the challenge is, of course, to keep our people safe, and safe and healthy, because we were in contact with customers at our branches, the postal branches, in close contact, and also during the delivery. So we went pretty fast into contactless delivery in the last mile, but also contactless transactions over the counter. That was the second biggest challenge. Third one was bringing our people into remote working, which is something that we in the company never did. So in a couple of days, organizing it, tools, systems, PC, laptops, whatever, all organized that people could work from home. And then gradually, when it evolved, I think we were potentially the first postal operator who was fully vaccinated. So in the UAE, vaccination started early. So I think by March of 2021, we had everybody who was eligible to vaccination was vaccinated. So that was also, I think, good for our customers, but also good for the trust in the company itself between colleagues that, everybody is vaccinated, and that gives much safer place to work.
So you've seen this big internal shift, right? We've all seen, it doesn't matter what country you're in. I mean, in the United States here, I remember reading a bunch of articles right before the pandemic happened about how like grocery delivery and grocery pickup, it's gaining some steam. It's about 5 years away. And now obviously that's radically changed. Everyone knows where the apps are in their phones. Where do you see this space going in 5 years though? And do we have to be smart about it? Because if you think about it, a lot of these changes have happened during the middle of a lot of bullets flying around. So the evolution has to be done a certain way, right?
Yeah, great question. Well, I'm witnessing the e-commerce growth already for the last almost 20 years. Yeah. And you see the early adopters and you see the mature markets. And I'm now talking pre-COVID. So the pain points that existed initially in the US, in China, and in Europe are all gone now. And over the last, and then you see that internet penetration of percentage out of retail was roughly in the mature markets 20%. Yeah, 80% was still offline. People go to the stores, the malls, and so on. So it's still a small number, 20%. It's important after 20 years, but maybe 1% a year, which is not dramatic switch. Now you see COVID-19 made a big leap out of that. And I don't have the numbers for every market yet because they're still calculating that. But I believe we had a growth of potentially 3 years in 1 year. And many persons who never did it, they were forced to do it, and now they get acquainted to that and just do it. Retail is 96% in the Middle East, so it's only at 4%. So where we are in 5 years, I'm sure there will be another path of growth, not what we have seen during COVID-19, but the similar growth path that we saw before pre-COVID, then the jump, and I think a similar growth path will happen. I don't expect that suddenly the whole market will go to 80% online and 20% offline. I don't expect that in 5 years from now. But of course, the jury is out. Nobody knows. And with innovation, new things, it can go fast. Like introduction of Facebook, nobody expected that it would happen in such a short period of time globally. And you see this trends evolving. So my expectation is it will move on. And in some markets, it will go maybe to 50% of the retail sales will be online and 50% will be offline. But it's there to stay. It's not going to go away.
How do you see the challengings, though, from a postal provider's perspective changing, especially as larger packages are added to the mix as well? Where do you see that going?
Well, that's clearly an organizational issue. Yeah. The quick deliveries are done by the smaller vans who can drive quickly to the streets, and that's up to 20 kg, 30 kg max. These are the global rules. Everything above that, larger package of a larger size, you see that countries deploy a different method of delivery, which is a two-man delivery, and also sometimes installation of a dishwasher, what have you. So yes, everything what you can imagine can be ordered online, including a car, and it's delivered to your doorstep within the time frame that you agree with the vendor. So I don't see any limits anymore. In the early days, people said that will never work to buy a car online. Today it's happening. It's not rolled out massively, but it's happening. And so I believe everything will be sold online to a certain extent. And the logistic operators like us, we will find the solutions to get that to your house, to your doorstep, to a pickup point, where you want and on time. Yeah.
Now, with all of those changes, delivering that final mile, delivering that single package is also changing. How do you see that evolving over time?
Well, a couple of years ago, when I was working for the Belgian Post, I was running a specific project, which was creating a gateway to your doorstep. Because everything what you order online, in one way or another, you bring it over your doorstep, or yourself, if you do your groceries, or somebody else. So if you create a gateway to your doorstep that says everything what I order online is delivered to my doorstep once a week in a consolidated way. not Amazon delivering something, Walmart delivering something. Each time you need to be at home, you need to be there. All that hassle is away. You agree on a time slot. That time slot could be Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. I'm at home. And then everybody consolidated by one van, one person who knows you, who knows your slot, is delivering to your house. At the same time, you can reverse everything what you want. Yeah. Even you buy shoes online, they don't fit, you give them back at the same momentum. Your empties of the groceries, your empty bottles, you give them back. But you also can create a couple of new products, a repair of your shoes, laundry, all these kind of things. So really a gateway to and from your house. I believe that's a model that will be more sustainable in the future, because part of your question is also about sustainability. Yeah? What is going to happen if everybody's ordering online, all these vans in the street, all that CO2 emissions? How can the industry solve that? One, of course, by going with more electric vans and optimization. But certainly, I believe the consolidation in the last mile. You don't want to have 6 times a delivery guy ringing at your doorstep every day. That's not what you want, I believe. Yeah.
And you've said delivery guy a number of times. So this means, are you still long the human delivery person versus the robotic final mile? Because my question about that has always been, what about the final footstep? I watch these delivery guys all the time, but how are they getting up my driveway? How are they going to put that on my doorstep? How's the drone going to do that? Still seems like a job for a person.
Yeah. Excellent question. There are many innovations happening in the industry, and everybody was talking about drone delivery. Well, drone delivery today is not even 1% of the global delivery of last mile. So I don't believe that it will be rolled out as a normal way of delivery. It will be rolled out as a specific delivery in regions where it's possible, in mountains, islands, specific use cases where the normal van cannot come, and all this kind of thing. So that's a very niche market. Now you see also the manufacturers of autonomous vehicles delivering to your doorstep, and then the parcel is driving to your doorstep. Something is ringing on your phone, you open the door, you pick out the parcel, and done. Yeah, I like this, and I see this happening. But again, it's a long shot before that becomes dominant in the market. What is going to happen is that human interaction, and luckily we are the only human interaction in the whole supply chain, because if you order something online, you don't see anybody. You only see our delivery boy or girl with a smile handing over that parcel to you on time. That's what is happening. And I'm convinced for the next 5 years, it will stay like that. And gradually you will see potentially, like you have electric cars, like autonomous vehicles rolling out in the industry and the market, maybe also in the last mile delivery, it will follow. It will follow the same path.
To what extent do you see technology finding its way into here, though? And I like that you said that there's use cases, and I felt that too. I feel like a lot of these technologies are a little bit overpromised, a little under-delivered at the moment, just because of those logistical challenges. But where do you see technology making the biggest impact, at least in the near future, within that 5-year window?
Well, today already, the delivery of a parcel to your house is 50% tech and 50% human interaction today already. So there's a lot of technology behind it. But you have AI coming into place, continuous learning, autonomous learning, all these things are there. And recently I had a very nice presentation of a company called Talabat in the region here. And Talabat is the same as Deliveroo. Yeah. So these guys, how they use technology and learning of paths and customer profiles and business profiles to manage their capacity is second to none. It's mind-blowing. Yeah? They have 800 engineers who continuously work on, when do I need to send a driver to a restaurant to pick up, and when do I open a restaurant in my app, so that customer experience, the delivery within 20 minutes or 30 minutes can be managed, yeah, and can be profitable. And these guys, they use tech already in a much different way than we today as traditional last mile players do that today. So yes, there is a big quantum leap possible in using technology to improve accuracy, to improve the, let's say, notification, because everything what we do should be 100% real-time visible for the consumer. Like if you order a Uber, you see the car driving on your screen, coming to you. You know who it is. You know when he will arrive. This is the same thing we are going to do with parcels. When it comes to your house, you will see the parcel, and this is the parcel you buy from Amazon. You will see the logo of Amazon on that map, and it comes to your doorstep, and you know it's there. I will take it and be happy.
How does a big legacy institution like yours decide when to create their own tech in-house or to go out and outsource that?
Oh yeah, what we are doing in our IT strategy, and everybody has similar or different strategies, but what we are doing is we are using the big platforms for the normal elements that you have in an IT architecture. Yeah. So we are using Oracle for everything which is ERP system. We're using Salesforce for everything which is CRM. We're using Microsoft for everything which is email communication. So we decided, let's go for the big proven, let's say, softwares that are there, that we don't need to spend time on that. Tick the box. But our core business, we recently decided we are going to develop the software ourselves. Yeah. The app, which is a very important tool now, we just recently launched the app where you can link your address, link your preference, all these kind of things. We developed it ourselves. We don't want anybody else to run that for us. That's the core of our business. There's no Oracle, Salesforce. Of course, you have standard packages, but standard means standard. And if we want to do it well, we're not going to offer something standard to the market. We want to offer something better than standard.
No, I hear you. That makes perfect sense too. So let me ask you this. We're talking about disruptive technology. What about a disruptive company? How is Amazon viewed over in UAE? And does their growth excite you and challenge you?
Well, Amazon bought a company in the UAE a couple of years ago, which was an existing and the biggest online e-tailer at that moment, which was called Souk.com. And Souk.com had their own delivery network. So Amazon bought them, at the same time had their own delivery network. After they bought it, they also started to outsource a certain percentage of their volume, which we are doing for the moment. Yeah. And at the same time, you see another big e-tailer coming up, which is Noon.com. Amazon is red, so they are completely yellow. That's why they have the yellow Friday. And they're moving on fast, taking advantage of, let's say, the gap in the market here that e-commerce was not mature yet. So I like these players. Although,
speaking of disruptive players, you have to look at Amazon, right? My question is, how are they viewed over in UAE, and how do you look at them? What do they mean to a postal service?
Sure. Yeah. Maybe explain what's happening with Amazon in the UAE, because Amazon bought a couple of years ago an existing online platform, a market platform, which was called Souk.com. So they bought a company. So they had immediately entrance in the market. At the same time, they also had a delivery network, which was part of Souk.com. Now you see other marketplaces coming into the game. Noon is a new one, a recent one, started I think 2 years ago, growing extremely fast. Is a yellow one. Amazon is a red one. Noon is the yellow one. Yellow cars, yellow delivery, yellow branding, Yellow Friday, as we discussed. And these are the marketplaces. And of course, these marketplaces, we know that globally they drive the market. And I think Alibaba, eBay, and Amazon together is maybe 50% of the global e-commerce market. And that's huge, it's dominant. And of course, you see from time to time in Europe that they get fines or they have problems with market dominance. And that's, to a certain extent, a pity, but that's the downside of the model and the success of the model that they have. The winner takes it all. It's clearly a strategy like that. But of course, 50% of the market is still fragmented, and you have many beautiful e-commerce players who work in niches are also bigger, of course, not well known as the Amazon and the Noons and the eBays and the Alibabas. But I think there is enough growth potential in the market. We just said mature markets only 20%, so there's growth enough in the market. And if you do it well, still today, newcomer in the market, I think they can make their way through it. For us as last mile logistics players, we have seen many postal operators struggling with Amazon in terms of how to deal with the pricing strategy that Amazon is deploying. So far, we're not in that game because we're not the only provider for Amazon. They have their own fleet. They only use us for certain capacity. So I don't see that problem here in the region for the moment. But yeah, at the end of the day, there is a market price that needs to be asked for it. And if Amazon becomes too dominant in your network, that's never good. So it's not the case for us, and I hope that it stays like that, that the fragmentation of our customers, the segmentation of our customers is healthy going forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's impossible not to address the big A when you are in this space. They keep growing. You know, it's been a challenging year with the pandemic, the sequel to the pandemic just carrying through from 21 into 22, but hopefully some of us, those of us that are lucky, are going to take some time off this holiday season. And one thing I like to do is get deep into a book. What business book would you recommend to myself and to the listeners out there to check out this holiday season?
Yeah, I'm not a big reader. Don't have too much time for that. But one of the books that I always use in my company and to talk to my people, and there are many interesting books, by the way, but one that I use within the company, a bit older book, but is the book From Good to Great from Jim Collins. And that's, I think, an interesting one where you analyze how companies who are already performing well in the market outperform the market and learn from that. And that has to do a lot with how they construct the model of their product offering, but also how the CEO acts within that game. What kind of personality is he? Is he outspoken? Is he shy? Is he on stage, not on stage? How is he dealing with his teams? And that's an interesting book to read for everybody who is in middle or to top management. And learn from that. It's easy reading, and I always learned a lot from that and could use it very simply and easy within the deployment of my teams and team strategy.
That's a great answer, and you're kind of a man for my heart. If you were to count like children's books, like to my 5 and 7-year-old, I've read like 300 books a year. You count like regular books, I read a lot of articles online. I read a lot. I read a lot of tweets. I read a lot of social media, but I don't read as many books as I should. What about UAE? People thinking about visiting. What's your favorite outdoor activity there?
During 6 months of the year, there's not too much to do as outdoor activity because it's too hot. Yeah? We live in a desert with up to 40, sometimes 50 degrees Celsius, which is extremely hot. But of course, there are a lot of things you can do indoor activities. But now it's winter time, the weather is beautiful. So I like to walk outside. That's one of the activities I do, apart from the fact that I go to the gym every day. And that's something you can do all year long. Practice in the gym, and then outdoor walking.
People going out to visit, they want to check out UAE. What's your favorite outdoor activity out over that way?
Yeah, first you need to know and understand we live in a desert. So 6 months of the year, outdoor activities are almost not done because it's too warm. It's from 40 to 50 degrees Celsius, really too warm to do something as an activity outside. But now it's wintertime, the weather is beautiful, it's fantastic weather now. So people do a lot of outdoor activities. My favorite is walking along the beach and do that a couple of times a week. And apart from that, I go to the gym every day to stay healthy.
Speaking of health, this is a question everyone seems to want to know the answer to. How many hours do you sleep a night? They always say 8. I've been trying to crack that code. I'm lucky if I get 6. How about yourself?
Well, I also aim for 8 because that's the standard. That's what you normally need to do. That doesn't always work, but during the night I wear my Fitbit, measure my sleep to analyze it and correct it where needed, because it's the number of hours you sleep is important, but also what is good sleep, and that's something you need to measure and work on. So 8 hours, yeah, is what we need to roughly speak, or averagely speaking, it's 7 hours what I do every day.
Yeah. Quality sleep, not just laying there sideways, doom scrolling through the phone. That doesn't count. All right. Well, before I let you go and we go to some plugs here and how people can reach out, give back to your team a little bit. Give us one word or one phrase to describe them, especially through this challenging time through this pandemic.
Well, it was challenging for all my team members, and we have a couple of thousand people in the organization. Our slogan of the company is delivering happiness. Yeah, which is a nice one. Yeah, it was there before I arrived. I kept it because I like it. Yeah, and that's what we use continuously. And with all the challenges we have, I always ask my people, if you serve a customer, do it with a smile, because we are the only human interaction in the whole online experience. And the last mile is an important one. So if we can do that with a smile, then we deliver happiness.
I love it. Is there anything more to say there? And I kind of like how you brought in sort of, we're moving to this digital world, this hollow gray box, right? Where everything just, you feel so alone and so empty. And that voice, that happiness can bring so much to people and make them, just that one little conversation can make it feel like they're not just in the empty, vast space of the internet, and there's someone there that cares. Peter, excellent stuff. How do people reach out and learn more from you?
Oh, they can always find me on my LinkedIn. I think that's maybe the best one, Peter Sommers on LinkedIn. You can find me there.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you for joining us from sunny UAE. This has been Dooner for the Final Mile Vodcast. It's been our first episode. Tune back in. We're going to have many more of these, talking to leaders like Peter about what's going on in this incredibly exciting final mile space.
Thank you.